Hi, welcome to a new season of Shalom Ottawa. My name is Benita Simiatiki, and I invite you to join us for all the shows this season. They no doubt will be very informative and interesting about the Ottawa Jewish community. My first guest today is Sandra Zagon. Sandra is the chair of the Choices event, which is being put on by the Jewish Federation of Ottawa. And welcome, Sandra, to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming in. I guess the first question is, what is Choices?
Choices is the premier outreach event put on by the Jewish Federation of Ottawa. It is a fundraising event. It takes place once a year. It's part of their annual campaign, and it's part of the women's campaign. So it's about and for women only.
So does that mean that the topics that are discussed would have a special interest more for women than for men?
We try to do that. They're not really topics that are discussed. The way the event unfolds, it's a dinner, and it's a very special dinner. We are treated to wonderful cocktails, and then we move in and have a wonderful 3-course dinner. And during the evening, we have a guest speaker, and this year we have a retired colonel from the Israeli army coming over to speak to us clearly about some of the choices she has made in her career. I think she spent 20 years with the Israeli army. She's also the mother of 3. Her name is Miri Eisen. So this will be of particular interest to the 300 or so women that we expect to join us.
You said, you made a remark that she has made choices. Are speakers chosen because of decisions they have made? Like, is that a deliberate kind of attempt to match the name, or?
No, I would say that we get together early in the year, and we need to focus on what kind of speaker do we want. So we want a speaker that's going to be challenging, that's going to be motivating, that's going to be interesting. And because the event is choices, and what is choices? Choices is something that all of us have to do. And we're interested in women. Women have choices to make about family, about career, about personal development. And there's very often there are competing choices that they face. So we try to choose speakers that have these very challenging lives and will be an inspiration or a motivation to the women that we expect to come.
So when is the event?
The event this year is Tuesday, October 25th. It will be taking place at the Agudath Israel Synagogue, 1400 Coldry Avenue. That's in the West End. Again, as I said, it starts at 6 o'clock with cocktails. It's, can I say who it's being catered by?
Sure.
This is our 5th event, so it's a 5th anniversary, and it's catered by someone that's well known to the Jewish community, David Smith. So he starts us off with delicious hors d'oeuvres, and then we move into, after the cocktail, we move into the main social hall of the synagogue, and we are stimulated for the next 2.5 hours.
How many women would you expect?
300. That's 325 is absolute capacity, 300 is comfortable. And that will include, we hope this year, at least 10 students that we are doing special efforts to recruit, because to participate in the event, as I said, it's a fundraiser. So each woman will pay $36 for their dinner. That's subsidized by the Federation, because the real dinner is costing us $55. And then each woman makes a commitment to make a donation or a gift to the annual campaign. That gift is it has to be at least $150. Many of our participants have been donating to the community for many years, and they're well in excess of $150. For the students, we realize that it's challenging for them, so they only have to donate $54. And everybody has up to a year to pay that donation. So it's $1 a week roughly. And even for the, the regular crowd, if you're a new person coming to our dinner, which is what we want because it's about outreach and bringing new women into this community, that would work out to roughly $3 a week. So we don't think that that's a huge burden. And the event is about giving to the community, helping the 27 agencies, or I think that's what it is, that the Jewish Federation supports. It's about women showing their value and giving of their skills and themselves to the community.
So why was it important for the Federation to have an event specifically organized by and targeted to women?
Well, I'm not sure I know the answer to that. All I know is that the first chair of Choices, Jennifer Kardish, she imported this very successful event from Vancouver. They tried it here, and it was a huge success. How many times do we have an opportunity to be only women in a large room, networking, catching up with our friends and family? I think it's a great idea, and the numbers support that.
What do you expect Miri Eisen to be speaking about?
I have no idea. I would expect that she will speak about the choices she has had to make as a mother, as an Israeli citizen, and as a professional in the intelligence community, the very challenging job that she probably has had. I hope that she is going to tell us stories about what she's done in her life and stimulate us.
Sandra, you have a big job. You're chairing this major event. I'm sure it's very time consuming for you. What are you getting out of this involvement as a volunteer?
I'm getting out giving. I'm giving out, I'm getting out of this giving. I'm getting out of this an opportunity to use organizing skills that I have. I'm getting out of this the opportunity to work with a group of women that I admire and that I am extremely appreciative of. They are giving of their time and energy to make something happen for us, for the women in the community, and it's an opportunity for us to give. We can do it, and that's what I get out of it.
Are tickets still available?
There are some tickets available. The event, as I said, is October 25th. As we speak, I think that there are probably about 25 or so tickets left. Tickets are obtained through the Jewish Federation. As well, we have a system of table captains. So we have a group of women that have volunteered to be a table captain. Each table captain recruits up to 10 women to sit at their table. So it's a wonderful evening. Come have dinner with me. I'm not having to cook. A beautiful dinner we're going to have. We're going to see friends and family, and we're going to be stimulated by a very interesting talk.
Okay, so we'll put the number on the screen for who to call for information about the event. I want to thank you very much for coming in and telling us about Choices, and I wish you a lot of success with this event.
I'd like to say one more word, if I may. People always ask, well, what about Choices? The women out there, I want to appeal to you. Some choices we make because we have to make them, and some choices we don't make because we just don't address the issue that's in front of us. So I call that either you are making a deliberate choice or you're just choices being made because you have not dealt with the issue, or you haven't met a deadline or whatever, and the decision is made for you. I'm urging you to be very intentional. Come join us and be part of Choices 2012. Thank you, Benita, very much.
Very well said. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
And please stay tuned. We're going to have a break, and then we'll be back with Sheldon Friedman, who is the new principal of our Jewish Community School. Sheldon. Welcome to Shalom, Ottawa. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. You're relatively new to Ottawa, and you are the principal of the Ottawa Jewish Community School, the new principal.
That's correct.
I'd like to get a bit of information about your background. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Toronto, although I wasn't born in Toronto. I was born in Europe during the war and immigrated to Canada in 1948.
So you were a small child.
I was a small child, through refugee camps, etc., to Toronto, Canada, and I've been living there since, and a good number of years.
Has your career always revolved around education?
Yes, it has, although I've had secondary careers at the same time. I started in education in about 1967. As a high school teacher in history and economics in downtown Toronto, and then moved up through advancements, etc., to administration in the Toronto District School Board. And at the same time, I worked at camps in the summer. I did some selling in stores, etc., for clothing in order to make a little extra money and pay off the mortgage. So
you're a fashionista too?
Yes, I had an opportunity to get a job as the principal of general studies at the Toronto Community Hebrew School, Chat, and was there for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have two campuses, I believe.
Now they have two campuses. When I started, they had a population of about 450 and in one campus. And while I was there, it grew to about 1,350. And then I was involved in opening up the second campus.
The second campus is in North Toronto?
It's in Richmond Hill.
Richmond Hill,
yeah.
Okay. You were situated more centrally.
We're more central in Wilmington Avenue, which is in North York, Toronto.
So while you were there for your 15 years, you provided a lot of leadership, from what I understand, to the school towards its growth. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think I contributed something. I mean, it was a team effort, certainly. We had a number of administrators in place, but I brought a particular viewpoint of being more cooperative, being more democratic, being more open, etc. And that seemed to help the school and the staff settle down and try to increase the caliber of teaching staff and make the product more acceptable to the community, and that seemed to help increase the numbers.
Is it what grades start in that school?
In at Chat, it's from grade 9 to grade 12. But after I retired from Chat, matter of fact, at my retirement party, I had an offer to be principal of a Jewish day school from K to grade 8, and I did that for a year.
In Toronto
In
as well?
Toronto, yeah. So, and then
retirement doesn't last very long.
It doesn't last long. So it's amazing how opportunities come to you. And I didn't go necessarily looking for it. The only thing I did creative and under my own initiative was start a consulting company and a tutoring company.
Okay.
And I had a lot of opportunity to work with different Jewish schools in Toronto through that company. And it was also through that company that I got a request to come to Italy to help a school in Italy. And
a Jewish school?
No, an English school. And I ended up being the director of education there for 3 years in Genoa, Italy, as the International School of Genoa.
And would that have been as well an elementary?
It's very similar to what I'm doing now. It was a school from pre-kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. It was an international baccalaureate program, and we were in one building, and the school was divided in, by floors. So the first floor had the early childhood, the middle floor had the elementary, and then the third floor had the secondary.
And so you stayed in Italy for 3 years?
3 years, that's correct.
And then it was time to come back
Well,
home.
I thought that it was, I missed my family quite a bit. I have 3 sons and 2 grandchildren. I thought it was time to come back. And in the process of closing down there, I had an offer to come here in Ottawa, and a very attractive offer. The fact that I have a brother here, and I have a son and a granddaughter and a daughter-in-law made it a little more attractive.
Sure.
So now I have a chance to get to know them a little better.
So you've come to a school recently. You just started in this
Right.
role really at the beginning of this school year. And you know, this school has had its challenges. I'm wondering how, in your opinion, how it differs from challenges you may have faced in the Toronto Jewish school system. Have you noticed similarities or differences?
Well, there is similarities. I mean, all Jewish schools are now, you know, struggling with declining enrollment. People are having less children. There are other attractive alternatives for parents, so that the competition is getting a little bit stiffer in order to hold on to kids. And it's, you know, a question of juggling the finances that are available and trying to provide a excellent product.
Right.
And it takes a little bit time to iron out the little problems that might exist. I know that the school has a terrific history. Before it was amalgamated into the Ottawa Jewish Community School, Hillel has a long history. I think it started about 1949, so it has a long history in the Jewish community, and I know Yitzhak Rabin has done an excellent job in preparing kids for high school. So my job really is to maintain what they've accomplished and help in the amalgamation and make people aware that it's still a great place to get a general education and a Jewish education.
So I guess that leads to my next question. I don't have much time left. Is there a specific goal that you have in mind that you would like to achieve that would be your crowning achievement at Ottawa Jewish Community School if you could accomplish it?
Well, I want my main objective is to make the Jewish people of Ottawa feel comfortable of sending their children to the school and make them aware that they can get a good education all the way through to grade 12 and maybe convince them to leave their children at the Ottawa Jewish Community School all the way through to grade 12, because there is quite a drop-off rate at the end of grade 8. And
so you want to see the high school numbers boosted up?
Well, absolutely, yeah. And maintain the people that are there.
Yes. Okay, we have to wrap up now. I want to thank you very, very much, and welcome to Ottawa. And I know that you'll do a fabulous job.
I'm looking forward
providing
to
your
it.
leadership at Ottawa Jewish Community
Looking
School.
forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheldon. Now you're going to see a DVD that was created to mark the 2012 campaign of the Jewish Federation of Ottawa. It was first viewed on September 12th at the Joan Rivers event, which was the campaign launch, and it is such a wonderful video about all the depth and breadth of what the Federation does with your dollars that I thought that I would include it in this show so that you could actually witness all the organizations that your fundraising dollars go toward and support. Thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Builders, leaders, community activists, philanthropists, for generations, Ottawa's Jewish community has been at the heart of our city's civic life, founding and nurturing its own institutions, but always looking out at the broader community with affinity and generosity. The greatest expression of that generosity? Donations to the annual campaign of the Jewish Federation of Ottawa. You know, the Jewish community is at the heart of Ottawa's civic life, both figuratively and literally. This Jewish community campus, west of central Ottawa, is a place where people work, play, learn, and care for one another. And its very existence is testament to the generosity of donors to the annual campaign. What you may not know is the scope of the Federation's reach and just how far that generosity goes. The Federation casts a wide net, providing support and services to Jewish and non-Jewish clients, supporting local initiatives with a broader community reach, and providing global assistance to those in need.
You have a lovely day today.
Yeah, you too.
And
Yeah,
it's-
it's nice.
It's
Hillel Lodge is a leader in long-term care. It's a place filled with warmth and comfort and safety and security, and everybody is happy to call this place either home or their home.
These ones here, you can just color them in whatever color you like.
The funds we receive from the Federation campaign are critical. They're critical to adding that leading edge to really give us the quality difference that we have. And it's in food, nursing, therapeutics. There are so many wonderful ways. The Federation helps with a feeding assistance program that literally is the gold standard in long-term care. So it's people contributing to the Federation that we count on in order to be able to deliver these quality programs year after year.
Next door to Hillel Lodge, we find the offices of Tamir, another agency providing care and fellowship to some of the most vulnerable members of the community.
Nice and steady.
So Tamir is a nonprofit organization that supports Jewish and non-Jewish individuals who have developmental disabilities. The funding from the Federation allows Tamir to provide a wide range of programming to participants. For example, we provide residential programs to participants who have very high and complex needs, in which case we provide around-the-clock care. We also provide day programming. And in addition, we are now involved in musical theater in the community. And an example of our biggest production so far is the Joseph production that we did in the spring of 2010. Those dollars that come from the Federation allow us to provide quality programming and care. And because we have over 100 participants in our programs, in our residences, they rely almost completely on that type of funding in order to enrich their lives.
Beyond providing life-saving and life-enhancing services to those in need, whether a part of the Jewish community or not, the Federation fosters one-on-one connections between different cultural and religious groups. This building behind me is home to a number of educational institutions which covers the broad spectrum of the Jewish community, and they could not function without funding from the Federation's annual campaign. But even, or especially, when it comes to education, the Federation always has an eye to the larger community, understanding that educating others helps to build bridges and break down barriers.
A hug says it all. Jewish students from Hillel Academy joining mostly Muslim students from Charles H. Holtz and Riverview Alternative Schools. The grade 6 classes have been pen pals for a year. Today they meet and find they're not so different after all.
About 8 years ago, I established a program that would teach character education based on Holocaust education. And at my school, most of our students are predominantly Muslim. After 9/11, we had, there were rumors and there were certain things going around our school that 9/11 was a result of a Jewish conspiracy. And so I thought it was important to really kind of delve into that and see where that kind of stuff was coming from. Most of my students had never met anyone Jewish. So we established a link with Hillel Academy and started a pen pal exchange. At that time, we also had David Shentow, a Holocaust survivor, come in and speak to my students, and he basically won them over.
There were concentration camps, and don't let anybody ever tell you that it never happened.
At the end of the year, we have something called the Day of Cultural Understanding, where the pen pals get together and they meet for the first time and they take part in collaborative games. I couldn't obviously have done it without the help of the Ottawa Jewish Federation and the Ottawa Jewish community, which is really my success is really a testament to their ability to go outside their own community and support the ideals of citizenship, respect, and tolerance. And whenever I've needed help, they've always been there for me. And I know that I will always be supporting the Jewish community of
Reaching out to other faith communities and to the general community is an integral part of the Federation's mandate. Here's one small example. It may come as a surprise to you that Ottawa hosts the largest dragon boat festival in North America. It's a community-wide charity event. And for the past 3 years, the Sea Lion team, representing Ottawa's Jewish community, has consistently ranked as one of the top 3 fundraising teams out of the 195 teams in total.
We had our best race ever this year. Out of almost 200 teams, we came first in spirit, and we were third in fundraising. We raised over $25,000. And Federation's support with the Sea Lions Dragon Boat team has been amazing from the beginning. They helped launch it, and they've been in partnership with us for several years now. The exciting thing about what we're doing with Federation right now is they are really helping us launch the whole sport of dragon boating in Israel. And so Dragon Boat Israel is really the Sea Lions flagship project, and we're doing that in partnership with Federation.
It's so important to me as a young Jewish adult in this community to be involved, not just in the Jewish community, but as well in the broader community, raising funds.
And it's not just in our Ottawa community where the Federation makes a difference. When natural disasters struck in recent times in places like New Orleans, Haiti, and Japan, funds provided by the Jewish community saved lives and gave hope. Thanks to the generosity of donors going above and beyond the annual campaign, significant dollars have been raised through special relief funds.
In 2006, I was lucky to be part of a mission to Ethiopia, and we actually brought back 10 Ethiopian families who were making Aliyah to Israel, and got to spend a day with them and see their experiences as they entered a new country and started their new lives. Ethiopia isn't the only country in which our money has been used to make a big difference. We've been involved in disaster relief programs in Haiti, in Japan, and New Orleans, for example, and we're just getting involved in a program for African famine relief. So it's really important to understand that our scope is not just local and not just within the Jewish world. It's everywhere. Where there are problems, where there is need, our Federation is part of the solution.
These are just a few examples of the tremendous work done by the Federation, but they're just a snapshot of the important things funded by your donation to the annual campaign. From promoting education, to assisting the vulnerable, to inspiring the next generation to build a better community, living generously does a world of good. By giving to the annual campaign, you become part of a family of donors who improve lives, relieve hardships, and inspire hope every day. Please give generously to the 2012 annual campaign.
Hi, thank you for joining us for the October show of Shalom, Ottawa. My name is Benita Simiatiki, and I'm glad that you were able to join us today. I have 3 interesting segments on the show today, and first we're going to lead off with somebody who is new to Hillel Ottawa, the university group. I'd like to welcome Ilan Leibner to the show.
Hello.
And Ilan, thank you. And Ilan is the Israel Advocacy Coordinator with Hillel Ottawa. Ilan, you're fairly new to Ottawa as well as to Hillel Ottawa. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I'm new this time. I lived in Ottawa for a few years prior when I was a university student. Background, obviously not originally from Canada.
What gives that away?
I don't know. But originally from England, from London. And moved to Canada 12 years ago. First to Toronto. I lived in Ottawa for a few years. Mm-hmm. And over the last few years I've been in Toronto teaching. I spent a few years in Israel. I was at Hebrew University doing my master's. Mm-hmm. And then I've been teaching Jewish history for the last few years in Toronto before coming to Ottawa just 5 weeks ago.
Okay. So you're brand new here. So the background you bring to this position is obviously in Israeli knowledge of Israeli history and studies, and that sets you up for the Israel Advocacy Coordinator. What are some of the challenges that you see that students might face on campus, or that your committee, because you have a committee as well,
Yes,
correct?
student committee.
It's a student-led committee?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the challenges you think that students might see on campus?
I think there are many challenges in today's university environment. I think many students, they come to campus now, and a campus is a place where they want to engage in conversation, in debate, in rigorous debate and conversation. That's what students come to university for. And many Jewish students, especially over the last 10 years or so, and it's exacerbating, are experiencing, they're seeing hostile propaganda led by radical student groups that really does exclude them from that university conversation. With regards to Israel, this isn't new. We saw it over the first 30 years, between 48 and the 70s and the 80s, mainly in the United Nations. We saw the Zionism and Racism Conference and so on. But over the last 10 years, we've seen the increase in frequency of this propaganda on university campuses. And I think it creates a difficult experience for many Jewish students on campus. They see Israel Apartheid Week. They see this propaganda on campus that really does vilify Israel as a single and the sole and the worst violator of human rights in the world. And this is absurd. These are absurd lies that are promoted by student groups. And it's important for Jewish students to really stand up and to really be proud of their identity and to be proud of what Israel's accomplished.
Is that primarily the role of the Israel Advocacy Committee to promote the reputation of the State of Israel? Or?
It's not necessarily promoting the reputation of the State of Israel. I mean, I come to Israel and I hope, and I tell when I talk with students, I really encourage coming to Israel, not only as a Jew for me, but we have students who are non-Jews who are supportive. What I come to Israel for is part of the broader struggle for justice and human rights. And that's what Israel represents for me. It's a state that has and will continue to fulfill its human rights obligations. And I come to Israel as part of that struggle for justice, for human rights. And not only that, within that context, when we approach Israel, we approach not only the political context, but we want to go as much as possible beyond the conflict to really show that Israel is a fun country. And so we do have events that really showcase the culture of Israel, the beach culture, the food. I mean, it's a country with very, very good food, enjoyable culture, good dance culture, good music. And students, I mean, I listen to students, and when students tell me, they talk to me, they really want to see Israeli culture on campus, and that's what I try and bring them, and we work together to do that.
Do you find between the two Ottawa campuses, U of O and Carleton, is there a difference in the culture toward Israel on either one of the campuses? Or is it too early to tell for you?
No, there is a difference. Carleton is a more suburban university, and so students tend to stay on that campus for longer periods of a time. And in that campus, we have historically, especially over the last 5 years, seen more hostile activities by anti-Israel groups on Carleton University's campus than at Ottawa University. But at the same time, we have good student populations that really work with us, and we do a lot of work on both campuses, both Carleton and the University of Ottawa.
What are some of the activities that you have planned for this coming school year?
Well, I think first, in terms of activities, it's really important with students to not only create events, but to create meaningful activities for students, to really empower them to delve into their identity and to really bring a sense of confidence in their identity. And so when we plan activities, we look at them in that context. In terms of what we have planned and what we've accomplished, only in the past month we did one event, Wine and Cheese, which is a really wonderful beginning to the year, an introduction to many students, where they were able to meet many members of Parliament, the ambassador, and other students really mingle over some wine and delicious cheese. And then following that, we had a dance party just last week called Sabra Sessions, where we brought in a great DJ from New York. We played some music for students at one of the music clubs downtown, and the students really enjoyed it. We had over 100 people out there, and they had a really fun time to the early hours of the morning, and we'll continue on those themes throughout the years, food events, cultural events, maybe a technology event, things that really are enjoyable for the students. And alongside those, conversations about students' identity, why they come to Israel, how they really do link their work with Israel, and for the representation of Israel on campus, with human rights ideals, as well as advocacy activities.
So it sounds like human rights is a theme that's woven into a lot of the events that you organize, and you're almost like your mandate.
I think that's important. I mean, that's how they're important for stability, and I think it's really important to come at political subjects from the standpoint of justice and human rights, and because ideally, fundamentally, when we come at projects, we want to come at those projects as a way to really build a more respectful community of people, and I wouldn't come at Israel in any other way.
What is the reaction on campus from, let's say, non-Jewish students when they perceive your activities? Is it positive or ambivalent, or but like?
I mean, I think that it differs. I mean, we try and showcase a positive model, and as I said before, fun activities. Most of the time we're on campus, it isn't political activities. We're really showcasing just enjoyable events, enjoyable activities. When we did a dance party, the response was, for the people who attended, dancing. And that's what we wanted. When we did a wine and cheese, the response by many people who showed up was mingling with students. When we do political activities, we do have a mixed response. Many are very supportive. We do have people who are opposed and will protest. And what we're really after is to really showcase justice on campus, and to really reach to that big group, that 80% group of students that is Ebraica, just to try to show that we are a group that really does care about justice, that we are a group that really does care about a better discourse on campus and openness.
Ilan, I think we have to end the interview now. We're at a time, but I want to thank you very much for coming in, and I wish you the best of luck with everything you're trying to accomplish on campus.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And please stay tuned. After the break, we'll learn about Holocaust Education Month. Welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. My guest now is Mina Cohn. Mina is the chair of the Shoah committee that is part of the Jewish Federation of Ottawa, and Mina's here to talk about the upcoming Holocaust Education Month. And welcome, Mina. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Benita.
Can you explain why Holocaust Education Month is now a month? It used to be a week, Holocaust Education Week. What led the committee to extend it to a month?
We had a few events that couldn't fit into the week to start with. When we invite somebody to come, and not always they have the exact date that we have in mind free to come. And so what happened is some of the events that we were proposing to have this year kind of fell either before or after the traditional week. And we just decided we're just going to offer it along 1 month instead of 1 week.
And what are the dates this year?
It's starting on the 24th of October with a teacher's workshop, which is for teachers only with an RSVP.
And it extends till?
It extends to the 20th of November, which is the last event.
Okay, and we're going to learn about that later in the
Right.
show, actually. Can you outline some of the events that you're showcasing?
So the first is a teacher's workshop, which is to give teachers hands-on experience on how to teach the topic of righteous among nations, which was our theme this year. A topic that is has some positive
connotations
to teaching the Shoah and very valuable lessons for the students of today.
What exactly does that refer to, righteous among nations?
Righteous among nations are non-Jewish people who were granted this title by the State of Israel, by Yad Vashem actually, the Museum for the Holocaust in Israel, on behalf of the State of Israel, for aiding Jews during the Holocaust, saving them, helping them escape, sheltering them, etc. There are many, many ways that this took place.
Okay, so you're starting off with teachers' workshops.
Right.
And the teachers have to register.
The teachers are registered. We have up to this day, we have, I think, about 40 teachers registered from about 20 or so schools across Ottawa, and that includes the Carleton, the Ottawa Carleton Board, the Catholic Board, some from the French schools, and we also have teachers coming from the Quebec side, which we're very pleased.
And are the workshops intended to give the teachers the tools so that they could then teach the Holocaust better in the classroom?
Exactly.
Okay.
Specifically this topic of righteous among nations.
Okay.
So we're going to focus on that.
I'm sorry, is it aimed at more high school teachers than elementary? Or do you have a
The
mix?
teachers that are invited to join us are from grades 7 to 12.
Okay.
So most of them are going to be high school teachers, but we have some of the higher grades in the elementary school too.
Okay, and what about some of the, I know there's several events, I won't have time to get through them all. What else are you showing?
We have our launch event on the 3rd of November is with Paul Shapiro, who is coming to us from the Holocaust, from the Washington Holocaust Museum. He had a very important role in opening or pursuing the German government to open the Nazi archives in Germany. And as a result, people, Holocaust survivors, their family members, other people that were oppressed by the Nazis could get hold of information that was collected in these archives about them.
Wow.
There are more than 15 million documents in the archives, and he's coming to talk about how this happened, that the archives are open now, what they did, how they did it, etc.
That sounds fascinating.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and that is your major event of the month.
That's the major
is that correct?
event of the month. That's
Okay.
the opening. That's
Okay.
the formal opening. It's the launch event of Holocaust Education Month. During that evening, we are also going to award the Ari Van Manson Award to a teacher that was chosen by the committee for excellence in Holocaust education. And following the 3rd, we're showing a few movies. 2 movies are going to be shown at the Mayfair Theater with participation of a professor from the University of Carleton, Andrew Cohn, that will be answering questions following the movie. And I'm talking about Eichmann's End, which is in collaboration with the German Embassy and the Zelikovich Center. And the other movie at the Mayfair Theater is the heart of Auschwitz, and we have the director of the movie coming to talk about the movie during or before the screening.
And is the whole community invited to these events?
The whole community is invited. Tickets are being sold at the Soloway JCC. The tickets are $10 each for all these events that I mentioned, the three of them. We also have 2 events that are free, and they will take place at the JCC. One of them is the screening of the movie The Final Victory, and the other one is the event that you're going to be talking about soon.
Okay. Mina, why do you, I mean, you've been involved with the Shoah Committee for a couple of decades now, a very long time. Why do you think it's important for the Holocaust to be marked in a formal way every year, the way that we do in Ottawa and other cities do as well?
I think it's done across Canada in November. It is important to dedicate a certain time of the year to the education, and I think it makes us focus and try to be creative every year to bring new things to share with the community.
Yeah, from an educational point of view, clearly the committee feels that, not just the committee, I mean it's sort of a popular feeling that education needs to be ongoing all the time, that it's something that can't just stop. And I get the feeling that's part of why these events are planned across Canada and perhaps North America as well. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, the major focus is education, and we feel that education is important because we don't want to repeat the horrors of the Holocaust, and we want the young generation to learn the lessons of the Holocaust, and we feel that there is a place for it in today's society.
Okay, well Mina, I will make sure that we have the contact information on the screen for anyone who wants information, and I want to thank you very much for coming in to talk about Holocaust Education Month, and good luck with all the events that you have planned.
Thank you.
I have a very special guest, 2 guests, but one is particularly special. I'd like to welcome David Shentow, who's well known in Ottawa as a Holocaust survivor who does a lot of speaking, and Floralove Katz. And you are here to talk about a special movie that Floralove, you are the producer of, is that correct?
Producer, director, editor, composer, and musician.
A jack of all trades.
Well,
what is the movie called?
The movie is called FilmInterview, David Shentow, Prisoner of the Nazi Holocaust, number 72585, which is the number that David has tattooed on his arm.
Okay. And this movie is initially being aired, or screened, I should say, as part of Holocaust Education Month.
Exactly. Okay. At the JCC on November the 20th at 3 p.m., we'll be screening selections of the film. The whole film is about 2 hours in length.
Wow.
So we're only going to screen selections from each of the scene selections.
Okay. Floralove, why did you, how did this idea of this film get started?
How did it start?
Exactly. You could be the interviewer.
No, because I'm still surprised.
Okay.
Well, this gentleman and his wonderful spouse, Rose Shentow, have dedicated themselves over the last 20 or 30 years to repudiating Holocaust denial. So have I. It began when Rose happened to sit on the park bench in Toronto beside Ernst Zundel, a well-known Holocaust denier, and out of that experience grew David's dedicated commitment to speaking throughout the year to schools, high schools, universities, police services, and at conferences. But each time he speaks and recounts his experiences is a personal ordeal. So to spare David the ordeal of reliving it and recounting it each time he speaks to a class, I had the idea with a very dear friend, David Hoffman, who interviewed David in 2006, to produce a DVD which we could then make available to schools so that the DVD could precede David into the classroom, allowing him and Rose to come a week later and simply to answer the children's questions.
Okay, okay. You had the idea, but clearly this has been a real kind of like a game changer for you. I mean, it's made a huge impact on your life, and you've devoted, I know, but with all those roles you played, probably hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
What inside you really kind of spoke to you and inspired you to say, I really want to give of myself for this project?
Thank you for that very sensitive question. My mother's mother, Rose Schmelz Gottlieb, was born in Auschwitz, in the little town of Auschwitz, where the Nazis built the largest and most efficient crematoria and extermination camp. She and my beloved grandfather, David Gottlieb, and my mom and aunt were among the few in their family who were able to escape Nazi Germany in 1936 after the Nuremberg laws. My father volunteered for military service at age 17 as a young Montrealer. He witnessed and lived as a young captain in the Canadian and then the British Army on the Rhine the harrowing experiences of seeing the horrible death and destruction and secretly helping Jews escape the DP camps after the war to Israel. So this film is a small commitment to David and Rose, to my family, to the 6 million, and to all of those who educate about the Holocaust today.
Okay. David.
Oui.
You gave a lot of time as well to be interviewed for this movie. Why did you agree to have a movie made about you?
It's a very, very good question. As a matter of fact, even today I still feel with a heavy heart each time I'm invited to talk to a school. Primarily, of course, and one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, Holocaust deniers. The biggest shock when I was invited to talk to a school, I won't mention the school because it happened right here in Ottawa. After I gave my, it's more like an expose, one student got up from, as a matter of fact, the son of an ambassador. What shook me up, first question, his father told him that there were swimming pools in the camp. What do I have to say about that? If I think that this was a shocker, the next question, that Jewish people would put numbers on their arm on purpose so they can get a pension from the German government. When I heard that, I knew I have a big job ahead of me. Because if I'm not going to talk, as Mitchell Bellman said, who else will?
So you
or
see
the
this,
rabbi in my synagogue.
right?
You have to do it.
So you see this as a personal responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
And is that your reason for wanting to be part of this movie?
Yes,
as
yes.
well?
As a matter of fact, quite truthfully, no, I was not interested in it. Enough is enough. It takes my heart out each time. If Floralove would not have heard me talking to for the first time in a school, and she noticed how much it took out of me, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised that she felt sorry for me. She cried for me. And this is when it all started. We'll make a video, and the minute I heard the word video, I figured no more talking.
Right.
Not necessarily, just answering questions. And that's a big load off my chest. And that's the way I'm doing it. And as long as I have the bread, because Holocaust deniers, what's so heartbreaking, they have a large following.
Yeah.
And people believe it didn't happen. Or if some believe, it's exaggerated. Not 6 million Jews died, only 2 million. Not 1.5 million children, only 100,000 children. So I know I have a big job.
Right.
Yep.
And that's the reason.
Okay. Floralove, I've had the privilege of seeing parts of the movie, and I know that there is a lot of several historical photos and footage that are in there. How did you obtain all that?
That's a very good question as well. There's a tremendous annal called the Holocaust Chronicle. I would highly recommend that your viewers have a look at it. It's a compendium with literally hundreds and hundreds of photos that they have secured from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and many other sources, the US Army, the German sources, and so on. am working with those sources to obtain the copyright for the photos. My agreement with them right now is that so long as the film is produced as a non-profit, free of charge, I don't charge for any of the product that I distribute, it's okay to use these images.
Okay.
And the images, of course, illuminate everything that David speaks about in the film.
There's a little footnote to that, and this is why I love Floralove so much. All these DVDs that she made, when we talked about it, the schools can keep it, which means that a year later
they can show it
they
again.
can show it again. And if I'm still around, I'll be glad to answer questions.
Okay. And David, are you proud of the final outcome?
I'm still speechless. I just can't believe the effort, or more like the passion that Floralove was putting in.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm a little embarrassed because I feel, after all of this 65 years since it all happened, but with Floralove as if it happened yesterday. She's working with such a passion that how can I not be behind her and do everything I can?
It's hard to say no to her, isn't it?
How can I say no? I can't even say no to my wife. So,
Nobody can.
That's true. But then again, and the most important thing, if it wouldn't be for the Holocaust deniers, nothing could convince me.
You know what? We have to wrap up, I'm being told, but I want to thank you both very much, to Floralove and to David, and people can watch the movie on November 20th, and we'll put the information up on the screen for that.
And thank you for inviting us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Benita.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching Shalom Ottawa, and we will see you next month. Hi, welcome to Shalom Ottawa. My name is Benita Simiatiki, and we're very fortunate today in our first segment to have a musical introduction. We have two ladies from the group called Musica, Ebraica. We have Patsy Royer and we have Minda Wershof, and both Minda and Patsy were founders of the group Musica, Ebraica, and Patsy is currently the president, and I've invited them in today to talk about their group and the state of the choral choir in Ottawa. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Minda, you were one of the founding members. And how long has the group been around for?
We started in August of 2000, so 11 years, and it was begun in the living room of Barbara Kasdan, who, along with David Malecki, our founding conductor, got together a group of people who wanted to sing excellently and to sing interesting and exotic Jewish music and present it to the community at large. Patsy and myself, along with a group of other people, I could name all their names, were part of it. And many of the founding members are still singing with the choir.
Okay, so there was no group like that existed prior?
There was a community choir, the Shira Ottawa Choir at the time, and many of us had sung with it, but we wanted to go beyond that and sing more difficult music. And you know, there's always striving for excellence, and the community choir was wonderful, and many of us still sang with it, but we wanted to do something else. And so we founded this choir, and with the intention of bringing Jewish music to the community at large, along with bringing unusual pieces to the Jewish community.
Okay, so when you first started, how many members did you have?
I think we started with about 20 or 25 singers, and we're still that number. The idea was to form a chamber choir, a smaller choir, and it's an auditioned choir, and we like our members to be able to sing well and to have some facility with reading music.
And you said some of the members that were the originals are still in your group today.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Patsy, can you describe the type of music that you sing and what makes it difficult to sing?
Well, a lot of people who haven't been exposed to the breadth of Jewish music think it's what you hear in synagogue. It's liturgical music.
And some know of the music that we sang as campers and things, that Israeli-based music, but there's much, much more than that. There's music in Yiddish, in English, in Ladino, which is the Spanish equivalent of Yiddish. There's music that's come from India, it's come from China, it's come from South America, it's come from Spain and North Africa, and we try to bring it all together. Then there's all of the selections from musical theater, the Yiddish and other musical theater, and then we broaden to include Jewish composers who are well known. And when you get to that, well, in Minda's basement, we have a collection of about 200 pieces of music that we have performed with multiple copies in our library, and there are thousands and thousands more pieces.
Well, I was just thinking as you're talking, how do you research the music? How do you discover what exists?
Well, there are a couple of processes. One of them is to go on to a website like YouTube and listen to what other people are doing, and each song links to that composer or other things that choir has done, and you can follow it along. There's also an organization called Transcontinental Music in New York that publishes each year dozens and dozens of pieces of music for choirs and for individual singers and so on. And we have access to that catalog as well.
And there's the North American Jewish Choral Festival, Zamir Foundation of New York, which is I think 50 or 60 years old, founded in New York City, that sings the kind of music that we sing and aspire to sing. And every year there's a choral festival in the Catskills, and many of our members have gone. And we hear other choirs singing, and we buy their music because it appeals to us, and we think that it'll be something that others will like to hear. So.
And is there instrumental accompaniment? Or?
Sometimes.
Okay.
We have a very, very capable piano accompanist who works with us at all our rehearsals and plays when there's piano required in performance, Carol Gorofsky. She's been with us as well from the beginning, and she's part of the heart of the choir. We've used drums, we've used guitars, we've had flutes, we've had strings.
Castanets.
Oh, absolutely. And occasionally we try to add to the texture of a concert by inviting instrumentalists in as well, so that you're not just listening to the lineup of heads who sing and sing and sing and sing. And people seem to really appreciate that. So we try to add variety to our concerts as well.
Tell me about the types of events that you perform at. Do you perform only in Ottawa? You mentioned the Catskills.
Well, we were asked to sing at the Choral Festival. We were delighted to be asked to sing at the at one of the opening events of the Dead Sea Scrolls at the Museum of Nature. That was a highlight. We've sung in Montreal at the Shar Shemaim Synagogue with Stephen Glass, who's a very well-known musician in Canada and abroad. We've sung in Toronto. We've sung as I said, at the Choral Festival, Tabaret Hall in Ottawa.
At the Tulip Festival,
That's right.
We were invited also by the Israeli Embassy to perform, and we've sung for the University of Ottawa for their Jewish Studies department.
Right, and we've sung at a CRIC, this interfaith event that takes place at the X. And they invited us to sing as well. And again, another interfaith event last fall that took place at Musica. And so...
And we've done outreach. We've sung almost every concert we've done. We've repeated all or part of the concert at the Hillel Lodge for people who can't get out to come and hear us. And we've done some of the other seniors' residences as well in the city. So we do love to do outreach.
And I know you mentioned earlier that you have collaborated and partnered with other Jewish choirs in North America. Is that correct?
Well,
yes.
with the Shar Shemaim Choir in Montreal.
They invited us to come and sing with them at their 100th anniversary celebration at the
150th.
at their synagogue. And we've sung several times with choirs from Toronto. They've come here or we've gone there. And the Zamir Festival is really very special. It's very inspirational for our singers because it's 500 people who get out at this hotel in the Catskills in the summer, and after you have breakfast, you go sit in a huge circus tent, and 500 people pick up pieces of music and sing it sight reading in 4 parts. And it is so exciting, I can't tell you. It's wonderful.
Is there anything you have coming up that you're working on right now?
We're working right now on our first concert for this year, which will be in early February. As for the moment, it's scheduled to be the Shabbat Shira celebrations at Temple Israel, and our choir will be the main part of that.
Okay, so that there'll be some publicity around that once you decide the date and so on. We have to start wrapping up. I'm just wondering if somebody has a nice singing voice and they've been wanting to get involved in something, when do auditions take place for your group?
In fact, they have been known to take place throughout the year. What we say is come to several of our rehearsals, see if you think you're a good fit, sing along with us, and then you will audition with our director. But we would like people who can sight read. If they can't sight read, they have to be prepared to work very hard.
And we're putting your website on the screen so that
Great.
people know how to contact you. I'd like to thank both of you, Patsy and Minda, for taking the time to come in and talk about your choir, and good luck with your future concerts.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and please stay tuned. We'll be back with an Israeli adventure right after the break. Hi, welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. Now we're off on an adventure. We're off on an Israeli adventure, and we have with us the co-chairs of the Jewish Federation's new Adventure Israel trip. We have Paul Finn and Sharon Finn, a couple in marriage and a couple as co-chairs. And welcome on Shalom, Ottawa. Thank you for coming in. Okay, Paul, why don't we start with you?
Sure.
What is Adventure Israel?
Well, it's going to be an exciting trip to Israel. A little bit different from the traditional trips that people go on and they visit museums and this and hustling around and doing things. This could be a little bit different. We're going to be paddling, we're going to be hiking, we're going to be going on some to the Dead Sea, we're going to be rafting on some rivers, doing some walks at midnight through Jerusalem suburbs, and it all culminates with the first Dragon Boat Festival in Israel, which is in May 18th, 19th on the Sea of Galilee. And also there's an option to go to Petra and Eilat, which is Petra is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So it's going to be very different and very exciting.
What led the Federation to want to kind of veer off course from the traditional Israeli trip and do something so different? Sharon, maybe you can answer that.
I think it began because they had decided to do this Dragon Boat Israel. We thought there would be a lot of interest, and we thought that there would be a lot of people who were interested in doing more active things in the country. So, and there were people who were going to be on the Dragon Boat race who maybe have been to Israel many times, and this is just a little bit different. So just another way to see Israel.
And so who is putting all these components of this trip together? In terms of coming up with the activities and making those arrangements for, is it you or is it?
Well, we inputted it. Yeah, we had there was a small committee that got together and they listened to a lot of suggestions from Sharon and I. Obviously, some of the people from the Federation have been to Israel several times, and they picked and chose the fun things that they thought would be really neat, like a Jeep ride, like going on the old Burma Road from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem that was in the 1948 war. So things like that. And then the Federation staff, Ronnie Podolsky, has contacts in Israel with the travel agency there, and they packaged it together.
Okay. And what led you to decide to take on this challenge and chair this event?
Well, it was the dragon boating really interested us, and it just sounded like a lot of fun. And then someone said, well, we're going to create this tour that's going to be like a birthright for adults. And I thought, oh, great, my kids have been on birthright. They had the time of their lives. So it's our turn. We thought, why not? We've been to Israel. I've only been once. Paul's been a couple times. But it was time to go back.
Okay. Okay. And when is this trip happening?
Well, there's a couple of options. The main trip is May 10th to the 20th, which culminates with
2012.
Yes, May 10th to the 20th, 2012, culminating with the Dragon Boat Festival at the Sea of Galilee. But if you want to go a few days earlier, from May 7th to 10th, there's an Eilat Petra option. So we arrive in Israel, then we're going to fly you down to Eilat, so we don't waste any time, spend a couple of days in Eilat, and then go to Petra for the day, and then come back. And so there's like really 2 trips. So that's May 7th to 10th, the Eilat Petra
Okay.
option, and the main trip is May 10th to the 20th.
Okay, so people can choose
Yes.
to either leave on the 7th and
Or-
take advantage of those options,
That's
or
right.
leave on the 10th and not do those options.
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
And one thing I wanted to point out,
Yep.
though, although we call it Adventure Ottawa, people like
Adventure Israel.
Adventure Israel. Sorry, Adventure Israel. It's going to be lots of things to do, options. So if, for example, you don't want to rappel down a cliff, you can walk down it. There's going to be options all the way along the way. So it's,
Well, that leads me to my next question, which is
Oh,
that listening to you, it could sound intimidating
Yeah.
for people who think, I'm not an athlete, I'm not that fit, I don't do that
You
much
don't have
exercise.
to be.
So that was my question. How active, who's it suited for?
It's actually suited for everyone, because if you feel you can't do something, there will be options. And, kayaking, it's not that difficult. The hikes are going to be, there might be one challenging hike, but there'll be options. If you don't feel you're up to it, there will be options.
If one wants to take advantage of all these activities that are offered, though, apart from the one, you mentioned one hike may be challenging, is everything else pretty doable for the average person?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you can walk to the stores and you can walk to the supermarket, you can do this. You can do it. There's a few challenging things that people can do that if they want to,
Yeah.
but there's always options. There's always, every time we do something, there's going to be 1 or 2 options
Okay.
you can do. So it's for all levels. So certainly if anyone's considering it, they shouldn't be intimidated if it's going to be a little bit tough.
Okay. The adventure sounds like it's the main ingredient of this trip, but is there regular touring in the trip as well to take in the sites that Israel is known for?
We'll be going to Yad Vashem. We'll be seeing the Israel Museum. We'll be going to the Western Wall. We'll be touring Jerusalem.
Also, there's a Bedouin tent experience. We're going to be doing that. We're
Which
gonna
Birthright does as well.
Exactly.
Birthright does as well.
We're going to a winery up in the Golan, and so there's going to be fun things. There's going to be educational things. There's going to be exciting things, and there's going to be some, as I say, these midnight walks through the some of the oldest settlements in Jerusalem
We'll
as
be
well.
going to the Dead Sea in Masada.
Yeah.
So we'll see a lot of the sites that are typical trip to Israel.
Sites that would be included in an Israeli
Exactly, yeah.
tour.
You're not going to, for the first timers, you're not going to miss out. You're
Yeah.
going to see a lot of things that we've, as I say, Sharon and I went about 5-6 years ago, and some of the things we didn't see. So this time we wanted to make sure people see them for the first time. So we're going to be sweeping the country from south to north and culminating with the Dragon Boat Festival.
In a bus, I'm assuming.
In a bus, air-conditioned bus.
Well, we're flying to Eilat and flying
Right.
back to Tel Aviv.
Apart
so
from that.
apart from that, it'll
Now, this trip is being organized by the Federation, which typically is known for mission trips
Right.
to
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah.
Is this considered a mission trip?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
No.
This isn't a mission. It's not. We're not going to be asked. There won't be solicitation. This is a fun adventure trip to Israel to get you to see Israel and obviously culminate with the Dragon Boat. But no, it's not a mission. It's not. We won't be going to certain areas that the Federation funds go to finance and sponsor. This is a completely different trip.
Okay. What has the response been so far from people? Sharon?
People are excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're like we were. Like, yes, birthright for adults. Why not? It's a lot of fun. So people are excited.
Is there a maximum number of participants that you can have?
I think I think 25 to 40 would be ideal. If that's sort of one bus load and gives us some extra seats on the bus. If it's fantastic, we get 80 people, so we'll have 2 buses, so that'd be terrific. But I think the 25 to 35 to 40 people would be fabulous. And it's a nice group.
Okay, and what is the cost for this trip?
The cost for the trip, the 10-day one from the May 10th to the 20th is $2,400. That includes all the hotels and all breakfasts and 6 dinners and 3 lunches and everything. And if you want to go to the Petra, it's a $900 option.
Okay.
So it's...
Okay, and airfare is not included?
Airfare is not
right?
included. We didn't do that because everyone sometimes wants to make their own airfare. They want to go to Europe. They want to go on
Okay,
points.
yeah.
They want to do this and that. So we've actually booked our airfare and we're going. But that basically covers all the entrance fees as well. There's probably very few extras that you're going to be responsible for.
Okay. We just have about a minute left. I quickly want to ask you, is there a deadline that one must register by?
I think December 15th
Yep.
was the deadline, but
Okay.
I would like to say also that if they want to take part in the dragon boats,
Yeah.
the boats are filling up.
Okay, so can you talk briefly, whichever one of you feels best, you can talk about the Dragon Boat Festival itself and
Sure.
what that is that culminates this trip.
Sure. Do you want
Go ahead.
Okay. I'll tell. Okay. Well, it's the first ever Dragon Boat Festival in Israel on the Sea of Galilee. I think a lot of people that do the dragon boats here in Ottawa, the Sea Lions and the Lions of Judah women group, they decided why not have it in Israel, and they've got 6 boats that recently actually arrived in Israel at the Sea of Galilee. We've got pictures on the web to show them, and it's really exciting, and it's really caught the imagination of Israelis as well. They were like, what is this? Not sure what it is, but it's really taken off, and Dragon Boat festivals are terrific all over the world, and this is the first time in Israel, so it's going to
So
be...
there'll be music, there'll be activities. It won't just be the boating. There'll be other stuff going on too. So it'll be a real festival atmosphere.
And I think we have to wrap up our interview right now. I want to thank you both very much, and I want to wish you the best of luck in getting this trip going and having a wonderful time. Paul and Sharon, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and please stand by, and we'll be right back after the break.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem.
Hi, welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. I'm very pleased to welcome now Ian Sherman, and Ian is the president of Congregation Beth Shalom downtown. The shul has recently made a major announcement about the sale of its property, and Ian has kindly come in to talk to us about that. And thanks, Ian, for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome, Benita. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Can you explain first the area of the property that has been sold? Because, you know, there are 2 buildings there. So can you describe what is encompassed in the sale?
Sure. So the municipal addresses are 151 and 153 Chapel Street. It's the corner of Rideau and Chapel. But it is one property. It's approximately 81,000 square feet. And the entire property, so the land and the buildings that are on that property will be sold, have been sold.
Have been sold. So you're talking about the building that is the former JCC as well as the current Beth Shalom Synagogue?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Why did the board decide to do such a drastic sale of its property?
Well, I think, you know, drastic may be one word that some people would use. It's certainly not the word that I would use. This is something that's been carefully considered for quite some time now, for years. And as I think everyone in the Jewish community knows, the landscape at Rideau and Chapel Street really changed back in 1998 when the Jewish Community Center and the Federation offices moved west. And Beth Shalom was left at that time to its own devices. There were negotiations and eventual financial agreements between the shul and the Federation. And through the course of the past 10 or 12 years, we've worked really hard at solidifying the operations of the shul and everything that we're doing as a shul. However, through a process that started a couple of years ago with the development task force that started examining a number of the issues, we really decided that it was time to think about our renewal in a different fashion. And so through a process that has involved a separate task force that was independently structured, we got to a point that we felt we needed to look at future opportunity. And while we're very pleased and honored to have accomplished what we've accomplished since the Federation and the JCC moved back in 1998, we also just felt it was time to look at our own particular future. We've made the most of what we could do over the past approximately 13, 14 years, but it's time for new direction.
Okay, and I understand it was a developer that purchased the property.
Yes, we went through a process. When the development task force started, we contemplated many aspects of what our future might look like. We came to a decision that we needed to find out what the fair market value of the property is. And the only way that we could do that was to put it out to the market. We put out a request for bids on the property. It went out to over 100 developers, not just in Ottawa, but across the country, many of them Toronto-based. And that allowed us to make a determination independently of how we might capitalize on the property.
Okay, well, it is prime location.
It's great real estate.
Yeah, it's great real estate, especially with the condo market, what it is now.
Well, the speculation is that there will be a condo development. I think we'll see a mixed-use complex, but that'll be up to the developer to determine.
What was the reaction of your members, particularly the long-term ones who have been members there for decades?
Well, we had our annual general meeting and special general meeting to approve all of this on November the 6th. And I think the results of that meeting were overwhelming. 85% of those in attendance at the meeting approved going forward with the resolution to sell the property. So in that regard, I think I could describe it as very successful. However, it is a very emotional issue, and as much as I've been leading the charge in crafting the development task force to look at these issues, as much as I feel very good about the decision that we've made, it's a very emotional issue. Sure. It's emotional for me, it's emotional for the congregants. I spent all of my life in that shul, many milestones celebrated in the shul.
Okay.
But the shul is going to continue.
Yes, well, I want to get onto that because we don't have much time left. What are the plans for relocation?
That's still a work in process. We're looking at a number of options, and we have made no final determinations at this point as to where relocation will be. It'll certainly be west of Chapel Street, as best I can tell at the moment. If an opportunity were to evolve in the center of the city, however, land is very expensive, and I don't know whether or not that would be a viable option or not.
What do you call the center of the city?
Think of the Queensway corridor, the Bronson Avenue corridor.
Okay.
That could ultimately be a possibility, but I have to admit I discount that possibility because the cost of land in the center is very expensive.
Okay.
We're looking at moving more west. We have initiated some discussions with the Federation about the possibility of relocating to the campus, and we're talking amongst a number of synagogues to see if there's a communal solution.
Okay, well, that's a cliffhanger. We're gonna have to move on. We have to wrap this up, but we'll see how this evolves.
We will.
Yeah. Thank you, Ian, very much for coming in, and thank you for watching this show. I just want to remind our viewers that there is no Shalom Ottawa in December. We're taking a hiatus, so stay tuned in January and check us out at the end of the month then. Have a wonderful holiday season. I'm Benita Simiatiki, and thanks for watching.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem.
Hi, welcome to Shalom Ottawa, the January edition, and happy 2012 to all our viewers. My name is Benita Simiatiki, and we have three really interesting segments today. The first one regards Mitzvah Day, and we have on our show Stacey Segal, who is the chair of the 2012 Mitzvah Day Committee, and welcome, Stacey.
Thank you.
Can you first explain what is Mitzvah Day?
Mitzvah Day is a fantastic day, an opportunity basically to come out and teach our children about volunteerism and giving back, about kindness and the needs of others. And so it's essentially a day where we have about 500 members of our community, kids of all ages, adults of all ages, come out to our community center, the JCC, the Soloway JCC. And there's a variety of mitzvahs that are happening throughout the building. And it's really just an opportunity to give back to the community at large. And so we're doing, as I said, a number of mitzvot, some for the Children's Hospital, some for the Elizabeth Briere. We're doing some things for local shelters. So just a bunch of different activities going on, and a real great opportunity for kids to learn about giving back in a fun and exciting way.
This has been done before. This is, we're several years into it. How many years has this been going on?
This is going to be year number 6.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And who sponsors it? What organ, like it's sponsored by the Jewish Federation
yeah,
of
sorry,
Ottawa,
the Jewish
right?
Federation of Ottawa is who basically runs the program.
Okay.
And then as far as sponsorship, even though you didn't ask, I'm going to answer
right.
anyways, we have Friends of Mitzvah Day, who are basically community members who make financial donations. And we also have a number of organizations and, by way of grocery stores and whatnot throughout the Ottawa area who have been very kind and generous and giving us donations in kind to help supply us with what we need to give back to the Ottawa community.
When is it?
It's happening on Sunday, February the 12th. So this year is actually a unique year. We're doing some different things. And so one of the things that we've done is expanded. So we're doing off-site projects in the afternoon and on-site projects in the morning. In addition, we have a variety of events happening throughout the week, leading up to Kindness Week, which is a United Way initiative that will happen, I believe their launch is on the Friday, February the 17th.
So Mitzvah Day is intended to coincide with Kindness Week and to kind of extrapolate some of the values of that, I guess, and utilize them?
Essentially. And so, I mean, Mitzvah Day, started, we're our own sort of thing, and it's grown substantially to the point where we're sort of at a maximum in terms of how many volunteers we can actually fit into the building. And so we've made this decision to sort of try and expand it. And of course, the idea behind Kindness Week is very much in tune with the idea behind Mitzvah Day, which is giving back and kindness and doing unto others. And so, we made a decision sort of as an organization and as a committee to try and merge the two in a sense and expand it and sort of reach out and try and get as many people involved over a course of days as we possibly can.
Is the connection with United Way that their beneficiaries are actually receiving some of the mitzvot that you're creating?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So there is that connection, and in addition, again, what we're sort of trying to do is certainly the vision toward moving Mitzvah Day to be sort of around the same time as Kindness Week was that we would be able to reach out to other cultural communities as well. Clearly we've had a lot of success in our community. Mitzvah Day is very much supported by our schools, by our donors, and by our families. And we would love to see that extend to other communities as well. And so we've sort of invited them to take our lead and to take on something for Kindness Week that would be linked and connected to Mitzvah Day.
Can you give me an example of some activities that you're doing and who the beneficiaries are going to be?
Absolutely. So something we've done in the past that we're doing again this year are birthday celebration kits. And in fact, our demand has gone up substantially since a couple of years ago. And so back then we had been asked for about 100 kits, and basically what they are, they're birthday celebration kits. So it's sort of birthday in a box, if you will. And we've got balloons, we've got candles, the kids make birthday cards, the kids make wrapping paper, the kids will put in all those things. We get cake mixes and icing that have been very generously donated this year from the Superstore in Westboro, as well as a few other grocery stores who are donating some different things to that as well. So that's one of the things that we try and do so that every child who is living in a shelter in Ottawa can celebrate a birthday. And so that's one example of something that we're doing. We're also doing Milk Bag Project, which is a new project this year, and so that benefits refugees who are living in Haiti. essentially it's making mats that will be going to, they're used by the hospitals, and it's, you know, those outer colorful milk bags that you generally don't know what to do with except throw them in the garbage, can actually be used and cut up and then turned into these beautiful mats. And so that is one of the projects that we've undertaken to do as well.
Are these events staggered through the morning in terms of the time that everything is taking place?
So we have 2 sessions happening in the morning that are each 45 minutes. And basically what we do is we have volunteers come and pre-register if they can. And if they can't, they can certainly show up on the day of and see what's left to do. But we have the 2 sessions that are available, and they can register. So for one 45-minute session that goes from 9:30 to 10:15 this year, and then the second session from 10:15 until 11. And then, as I said, we have some off-site mitzvot starting from 12:30 onward. And so they include at the Mission and the Salvation Army in the afternoon. And then during the week, we have some different things as well. Some of them happening on campus. Some of them, for example, our blood donor clinic that's going to happen on the Tuesday, the 14th of February. That will be happening at the blood donor clinic on Carling Avenue.
Okay, and then the on-site activities are happening at the Soloway Jewish Community
That's
Center.
correct.
Is that right?
That's correct. And as well, sorry, I should clarify, Hillel Lodge as well. There's
And
going to be some
Hillel
things
Lodge.
happening there, including Locks of Love. Again, we have some people are going to be cutting off 10 inches to donate to Locks of Love to make wigs for children who, for medical reasons, don't have hair. And then we also have some activities happening with some of the senior residents over there as well.
What is the youngest age, would you say, that children could help out?
Well, when we are talking about things like Hillel Lodge, you know, we basically say 0 and up, because, you know, even a little baby who goes over there is going to be a very welcomed guest by some of the seniors there, and will really sort of light up their day. And so, you know, any age really, to do the actual activities and crafts and things like that, generally we say preschool age to really get sort of hands-on.
So about 2.5 and up?
Yeah, 2.5
3?
or 3. I mean, they're certainly old enough to decorate wrapping paper.
Okay. Stacey, I think we have to say goodbye. If anyone wants information, it's on the Jewish Ottawa website, right?
Yeah,
the Federation's
at the Jewish Federation.
website. And so we'll post that website on the show. And people have to register in advance?
We strongly encourage pre-registration. We usually book up quite a bit. And so you can take your chance and show up the day of. But again, if you want to go onto the website and download the PDF and give Rena Gershowitz a call, she will set you up when you get you registered.
Okay, thanks so much for
Thank
coming in,
you.
and good luck with your event with Mitzvah Day.
Thanks so much.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with PJ Library. Hi, welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. We're very privileged today to have Paul Lewis with us. Paul resides in Massachusetts. He works for PJ Library, and he happened to be in Ottawa today, so we snatched him to come onto the show and talk about the PJ Library program. Paul is the Director of Community Development with PJ Library, and welcome to Ottawa.
Thank you very
and
much.
welcome to
Pleased
our
to be
show.
here.
Great. PJ Library has existed in Ottawa for about 8 months now. Can you explain what it is?
Sure. PJ Library is an amazing program that sends Jewish children's books to kids in Ottawa from 6 months through 5.5 years. Every month, a Jewish child can receive for free an age-appropriate Jewish children's book so that he can read with his parents. We turn snuggly bedtime moments into Jewish moments.
These books are sent free to the families, no catch.
Always free to participants. Young Jewish families in Ottawa can receive this gift every single month. It costs them nothing. There is no barrier to participation in the PJ Library. You do not have to be a member of a synagogue. You do not have to be a member of the JCC. You do not have to be a donor to the Jewish Federation. Anyone raising Jewish children in Ottawa can participate in this. PJ for pajamas for those special nighttime moments. It's a gift from the Ottawa Jewish community to the young families out there. The Ottawa community is saying, we know you're out there, we care about you, we want to embrace you, and we want to bring you into and show you the incredible things that are going on in the Ottawa Jewish community. It's a wonderful gift.
And it's aimed at ages 6 months to 5.5 years.
Right.
How many communities have this program going on?
The PJ Library is a whole 6 years old itself. It's still a baby. And we are now in 160 plus communities
That's amazing.
throughout North America, all across the United States and in Canada, and we're growing. We have another 30 or 40 in the pipeline. 5 years ago, we started with a pilot program in Western Massachusetts with just 200 books. Now we have virtually every community involved in PJ Library, and we send out this month 92,000 books all over North America.
What kind of feedback are you hearing from parents?
This is the most amazing program because parents love it. They find that these books are meaningful to them in terms of the Jewish content. For some people, this is the only bit of Jewish literacy and Jewish understanding that comes into the home. And so it's a fantastic way to reconnect with roots of their heritage. The books are about holidays and about Jewish values, about giving charity, and about repairing the world. And so this is a way to teach your children universal and yet Jewish values. And so the parents love it. And in addition to just receiving the books, in many communities, as in Ottawa, people gather for PJ Library programs where the PJ Library subscribers are invited to get together for a program about Hanukkah or Rosh Hashanah or for Passover. So it's an amazing way to meet other young Jewish families as well.
Excuse me, what would you say the benefits are to a community to having a PJ Library program in existence?
That's a great question because the benefits are really clear for the families. They get to reconnect with their Jewish heritage. For the community, it's about finding Jews who are out there. Sometimes they don't know about them. One of the really interesting things about our experience with PJ Library, in many communities, almost every community has discovered Jewish people living in their community that they did not know about. We think that because of the synagogues and the JCC and Federation that we might know all the Jews in Ottawa here. But that's not true. There are many people who are not affiliated with synagogues or who have not joined the JCC for whatever reasons. And they're out there, but we just don't know about them as a Jewish community. PJ Library, because it's free, because there's no barrier to participation, a young Jewish family can say to a friend, do you know about PJ Library? Are you getting free books for your child? No, I don't know. What's this all about? And they say, well, you can do that. Well, I don't belong. No problem. You can also participate. And so for the community, it's about identifying Jewish families in the community that perhaps they may not have known. And then, once you have discovered them, then you can embrace them. Then you can say, well, come on in and check us out. We have synagogues of all flavors, okay? We have activities of all kinds for every family at wherever they are on their Jewish journey. And so it's fantastic for the families, it's fantastic for the community.
I know you've had really, really positive feedback from interfaith families. Are there any examples that maybe you could shed light on?
PJ Library is a wonderful gift for Jews of every variety. If a family is already affiliated with a synagogue and living a life that has Jewishness as a big part of their lives, it's a wonderful gift. It deepens their commitment. But we have found our experience has been wonderful with interfaith families. Sometimes interfaith families don't feel all that welcome. And so it's a little awkward. Will they accept my non-Jewish spouse or not? So many times interfaith families have written to us to tell us that they have learned about Jewish life along with their children through the PJ Library books. And some have become so interested that several cases we have of the non-Jewish spouse actually becoming a Jew by choice because of the PJ Library. They started their Jewish journey with children's books. They were so intrigued, they learned more. And some have already gone through the conversion process. It's not that that's our main purpose. That's not what we're really after. That has happened as a side benefit, if you will. But for many families, it's about understanding what Jewish life and culture and holidays are all about and giving them the language and the jargon and the understanding of what's really going on, starting through the eyes of a child. It's fantastic.
The person who started PJ Library, somebody named Harold Greenspoon. Can you talk about him and what his vision was, what prompted him to do this?
Harold's an amazing man. He's 82 years old. He made a lot of money in the real estate world. And 15, 18 years ago, he started a foundation that started to give away a lot of money. The man has given away more than $100 million in the last 12 or 15 years. So he's a big-time philanthropist. He was inspired actually by Dolly Parton to start the PJ Library. I know that sounds kind of strange, but it's true. Dolly Parton runs a program called the Inspiration Library that gives books to inner city and poor rural children. Harold heard about this and became a local sponsor in Western Massachusetts. Then he said, wait a moment, how can I put a Jewish lens on this? How can we do this through Jewish eyes? We are the people of the book, right? So he had conversations and plans, and the PJ Library was born from that. And it's been an amazing story and an amazing growth. It's the hottest thing in the Jewish world because it connects young Jewish families to the community and to themselves.
Do you think he ever foresaw that it would, grow to 160 communities and 92,000 books a month?
Oh, I don't know that you could ever dream that large, but it has really happened, and now the dream is to get even larger. We have expanded and have gone worldwide. We expanded into Canada a few years ago. Now we have a program in Israel that's 120,000 books on top of the 92,000 that we do in North America. It's unbelievable.
Can you talk, Paul, briefly about the quality of the books?
Sure. The books are fantastic, many of which are award winners, including parents will know Caldecott award-winning books, things like that. We have a book selection committee that meets every month to review manuscripts and publish books and to make sure that they are appropriate with Jewish content that works, and to make sure they're age appropriate for each age. And these are folks who are experts in early childhood education and in Jewish education. So they're vetted very carefully. We see dozens and dozens of books every single month. We really pick the cream of the crop.
Well, I think we have to start wrapping up. How do you register? Or find out more information about
It's so easy. We make it very easy for you. Go online, pjlibrary.org. pjlibrary.org.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. You'll find the little communities, you'll find
Pick
Ottawa,
your community.
And you can enroll through the Ottawa page on the website.
Okay, Paul, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure to have an outsider, someone not from Ottawa, on this show.
My pleasure.
And good luck with your expansion across the world with PJ Library.
Great.
PJ's taking over.
Thanks so much.
Okay, please stay tuned, and we'll be right back with a surprise play from Yitzhak Rabin High School. Hi, welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. We have two guests with us today from Yitzhak Rabin High School. The first guest is Cynthia Bates, who's the director of the drama production that will be shown in February. And she brought along one of the student actors, Itzi Camille, and welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cynthia, we'll start with you. What is the show that you're putting on?
This year, for a change of pace, we're doing a drama, Death of a Salesman, a classic by Arthur Miller.
Yeah. And why did you pick that play?
Oh, that would be very complicated to explain. We went through a lot of different possibilities, and we ended up having more students I ended up having more students in the class than I'd anticipated, and I wanted to use them all, so I needed to find a production, a play that would match not only the number, but the gender distribution.
Okay.
And it's an intriguing play. One of the students who's been with me for a couple of years has been asking me to consider it.
And it's part of the CAPI's program,
It is,
right?
yes.
Can you briefly describe what that is?
Yeah, CAPI stands for Critics and Awards Program, and it's high school. It's celebrating high school theater. So there's about 35 schools in the Ottawa region, the National Capital Region, who put on plays, and they also put together a critics team of students who go to other schools to watch their plays and then write reviews on them. And the reviews get selected anonymously. The best ones get some publication in the daily paper.
Okay, and Itzi, over to you. As you have one of the leading roles, or the leading role, right?
Yes.
Okay, who do you play?
I play Willie Lohman. And,
Can you explain what kind of character he is?
Willie Lohman is an old man who had the wrong dream. His mind is in the wrong places. He wanted to go into business, be a big businessman, and that wasn't really what he wanted in his heart.
Okay. So it's a little bit about going off track from what you're...
yeah, it's about, following what you really want to do and keeping your mind in the right place.
You've been in productions before,
Yeah,
right?
I've,
You've worked your way up,
yeah,
so to speak.
The first production I was in was, I was actually in grade 8. I wasn't in the high school yet, but they needed a replacement, so our lovely Ms. Bates here decided, all right, this kid's good enough, let's put him on the stage. So I was there in grade 8, and then in grade 9, I did Brighton Beach Memoirs, which was another production of ours, a comedy, and I was the main role in that, and I won a CAPI award for that, Best Comedic Actor, and that was fun. I was in last year's play, and now I'm in this year's.
So what grade are you in now?
I'm in grade 11.
Okay. Cynthia, how many students are in the cast?
13.
That's
Yeah.
a lot for
it's a big cast. We've
preschool.
been doing mainly smaller ensemble plays the last couple of years, so that we have between 5 and 7 students, and they have roles that are more or less equal in terms of their stage presence. But this one's the first really sort of, I don't want to say unbalanced, but there's about 4 roles that are really, really big, and then another handful of roles that are sort of medium, and then there's a few roles that are very, very small. But we've put together a team that understands that every role is important, regardless of how small it is. So
when did you start rehearsing?
we started back in November.
Okay, and when is the show?
The show opens. We're doing a matinee on the 13th of February at the school, mainly for students in the school, but other people are welcome to come. And our opening night is February 14th, and we are on the 15th, and the 16th is our Cappies night, when the Cappies critics will come from other schools.
Okay. Itzi, does being in this show, has being in the shows kind of ignited a career interest in acting?
Not acting in particular, but the stage life.
Yeah.
I like being on the stage. I want to do stand-up comedy. So
I could see why.
But yeah, I guess I like being laughed at in any way, shape, or form.
Not many people say that, actually. Is there, how do people get tickets? Do they have to call the school?
If they call the school, the main office of the school, the tickets are available now. So they can be put aside, they can be reserved over the phone or purchased over the phone. There'll be probably tickets available at the door, but we have in the past come pretty close to selling out most of our nights, or sold out some nights. So you know, people are interested, and I hope they are interested because this group is doing a really fine job of a difficult and challenging play.
Are most of the students in the senior grades?
You know what? We've got a real range of students this year. We have students in every single grade. 5 of the cast are in grade 9, so brand new students who came in, and that's why I hadn't planned on them, but they showed up, which was great. And then we have a couple in grade 10, and we've got 3 in grade 11 and 3 in grade 12. So the distribution is wonderful, and they work well together.
And the show is at the school?
It's at the school in what we call our gymtorium, because we transformed the gym at the school.
Well, I've been there for last year's show, and it was amazing what a transformation it was, from a gym to like a regular theater.
Yeah, well, that's what we try to create. So to keep it intimate between the audience and the performers, and to make it attractive. I mean, a gym isn't really the most, you know, attractive place for conducive to drama or theater, and so we try to transform it.
Okay, well, I'd like to wish you the best of luck, Etsy, and I'd say break a leg, but we don't really want you to do that. I don't blame you. Keep both of them intact. Good luck with your part and with the show, and good luck to you, Cynthia. We'll post on the screen a phone number to call for tickets.
Excellent.
And tickets are how much?
They're $12 for students and seniors, and $15 general admission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. We'll hope to see you.
And Cynthia.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Good.
And best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been the January edition of Shalom Ottawa, and we'll see you next month.